Oh my god, we need to talk about the bloody queue. Hi! Welcome to my channel. I did not intend on making a video today, but things have happened in this country in the past couple of weeks that I feel like I need to touch on. So, in case you are unaware or living under a rock or just don't care, the longest reigning monarch in British history, Queen Elizabeth II, died on Thursday, I think, September 8th. It certainly was a breaking news story. We're in the middle of an energy crisis, but you know, whatever. Along with that comes a number of ceremonial things, one being the ascension of our new King Charles, who is taking the throne at the ripe old age of 73. We, of course, need to have funerals. Funerals upon funerals upon funerals. She died in Scotland, so she had to be transported by hearse to St. Giles Cathedral in Edinburgh, where they had a service, and the Scottish people got to see her lie in state for 24 hours, I think. Then she was brought back to London, and then she was transported to Westminster Hall in the Palaces of Westminster, which is where our Parliament meets. And there she has been lying in state for, as of today, around the last 4 days. And that's due to end tomorrow, where the state funeral is. But, specifically because of this, the Queen lying in state for the public to file past and view, we need to talk about another icon of British culture. We need to talk about the one, the only, the queue, the mother of all queues. To translate for my American audience out there, a queue is a line. You're waiting in line. You're waiting in a queue. Now, there is a stereotype about Brits that we love to queue. We will find a queue to wait in, and we will wait patiently. There are rules of the queue. You cannot queue jump. You are the worst person in the world if you do. You must patiently wait your turn. If you are to interact with any other people in the queue at all, you must be polite to the people in the queue or otherwise mind your own business. And you will not complain about how long the queue is. You will simply wait your turn. Now, as to be expected, a lot of people would like to file past the Queen's coffin, which may or may not have a body in it, we don't know, which is presumably why they planned for her to lay in state for almost 5 full days. However, they have been planning this queue for quite some time, not least because the Queen ended up living to the ripe old age of 96 and was celebrated her 70th year on the throne. No doubt they have consulted with people at the Disney parks. They have been expecting hundreds of thousands of people to join the queue. And ladies and gentlemen, it has truly lived up to its promise. It is wonderful. Let me just scroll through its own Wikipedia page. It has its own Wikipedia page, and give you some fun facts about this queue. The queue ends, of course, at Westminster Hall, where you spend 1 minute, approximately, walking past the Queen's coffin. And if you're lucky enough, you got to see her children and grandchildren guard a vigil over her for about 10 minutes in the last couple of days. Now, it actually winds zigzaggy through the Victoria Gardens, and then across Lambeth Bridge to the south, and then, wisely, I think, chooses to continue all along the south bank of the River Thames. Now, this is a logistical choice because the south bank is more or less entirely pedestrianized, whereas on the north bank you do have roads to navigate. There are a lot of obstacles in the way of creating an effective queue on the north bank. So this queue stretches all the way past Westminster Bridge, the London Eye, Blackfriars Bridge, Embankment, Tower Bridge, all the way back through Southwark, where there's another zigzaggy queue, and that is where you can join. If the queue is not at capacity, which it did reach, in fact, at 9:50 a.m. on Friday, September 16th, which, by coincidence, happened to be the day that I was also in London. Don't judge me, I took a day trip for myself. I more or less just wanted to see the spectacle of it all. London is usually a very busy touristy place. I know, I used to live and commute there for 2 years. Now, as I walked all the way from King's Cross Station all the way to Green Park, I noticed that despite everything happening at the moment, there were not as many tourists in any of the typically touristy areas of London. And that is, in fact, because all of these people who would normally be doing all of the touristy things were, in fact, in the queue. What are the wait times for the queue? Well, if you were lucky enough to get in the queue on Wednesday, you only had to wait a cool 5 hours. If you were unlucky enough to join the queue on Friday, that wait went up to an estimated 24. A whole day. I cannot think of anything that I would queue for an entire day for, except for our darling Queen of Genovia, Julie Andrews. And yes, when she does eventually go, I will in fact need a week to mourn. Yes. Now, of course, we are not leaving these people in the queue without any of the proper support. Along the queue, we have places to buy food, we have toilets, we have paramedics on hand in case anybody passes out. We have faith leaders going along to say prayers with people if they so wish, which I'm not a spiritual person, but to each their own. There is even a live tracker thanks to the Department for Digital Culture, Media and Sport that is on their YouTube channel. Dear God, I do hope they leave it up after the queue ends, because it's a national relic at this point. I'm actually going to check the queue tracker now to see what it says at the moment. It is currently giving the weather forecast, clear, 14 degrees Celsius. By the way, the BBC has also provided its own weather forecast for the queue, which is incredible. Estimated queuing time at this point is at least 14 hours. Nearest landmark is Southwark Bridge. It truly has to be seen to be believed, because the distance, I kid you not, is about 10 miles of a constantly moving queue. Now, everybody has their own reasons for wanting to be in the queue. Personally, when it comes to the monarchy, I am neither here nor there. I could give or take Charles as a monarch. They do not affect my life personally. However, this is a spectacle to behold, and I do have a little bit of the Anglophilia, if you will, from growing up in America. And yes, I did wake up early to watch William and Kate's wedding. Sue me. I have a bit less romanticized notion about the monarchy since moving over here. I certainly realized that they probably should not be taking as much taxpayer money as they do, and also should maybe return some of the things that they have stolen from other countries thanks to colonialism. However, this is a spectacle not to be missed, and it is certainly strange. We do not get anything like that in the States. The closest thing I can remember that is anywhere on the scale of the spectacle of this is Michael Jackson's funeral, and that did not age well. It is another truth universally acknowledged that it does not matter your class, your standing. Everybody should be waiting in the queue unless you have a very, very, very good excuse not to. For example, MPs who are at work. Sure, I get it. It's your place of work. Go pay your respects. Royal staff. Yes, please go pay your respects. Holly Willoughby and Phil Schofield do not need to jump the queue. They are the most hated people in Britain at the moment. They should have been for many other reasons, but it is a truth universally acknowledged. You do not jump the queue. And they did. Look, it's not really a good look when you, the presenters of a trash morning television show, skip the queue when football Jesus himself, David Beckham, stood in line with the normies for 12 hours to pay his respects to the Queen. He could have skipped if he wanted. He did not. I was around Westminster Palace when he was just finishing the queue. I could have seen David Beckham himself. Also, funnily enough, the people who were in line with him, I'm sure, treated him much nicer and much more respectfully than the television crews that shoved cameras in his face as soon as they figured out that he was in the queue. Stars, they're just like us. Honestly, I don't know if people are even joining the queue to pay their respects to the Queen anymore. I think they are just joining to say that they survived the queue. I really do. Not me when I got into London seeing the length of the queue and thinking, maybe I can change my train ticket home so I can queue overnight. No, I'm so glad I did not do that. My feet were shot after walking through London for a whole day. However, I did stand in a different queue, the queue to walk past Buckingham Palace and lay flowers in Green Park. That queue was closer to a much more reasonable couple of hours, I would say. And I did get to pet a dog while I was in the queue, so I can't say it was a terrible experience. And it also killed a few hours of my time. I had a lot of podcasts to listen to too, so you know. Great way to spend a day. Thank God I just bought new trainers like a month ago. Now, did I get to see the queue for myself? I saw people exiting Westminster Hall when I was down by Westminster Tube Station. However, I did have a couple hours to spare after that and to go someplace nice for dinner because I wanted to treat myself. I took the tube up to Tower Bridge, which was another place where people were queuing, and I actually managed to get to Tower Bridge whilst they were letting a ship through, so that was interesting. I did get a very, very zoomed in picture of the queue. I saw the queue. Very organized. That's all I have to say. Oh my god. There is life before the queue, and there is life after the queue. The queue is also now affectionately known as the Elizabeth line. It's funny on a whole nother level if you consider how long it took the actual Elizabeth line to get built and opened. See Jeff Marshall's YouTube channel on that. You know, there's some stereotypes about your culture that you're like, actually, no, we're not really all like this. This is 100% true. We Brits, and I include myself among this because I've lived here for 4 years now. We love to queue. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We love a bloody queue. I know it's a somber occasion, but I hope that when the last person leaves Westminster Abbey that has queued for so long, they deserve cheers and high fives and all of the applause. He deserves a bloody prize for that. Or she, or they. Finally, the Guinness Book of World Records officials are in London at the moment to assess whether this is, in fact, the longest queue and the largest queue that has ever been observed in recorded history, and I sure hope it is, because otherwise, what was this all for? Truly, what was this all for? And it's made all the funnier because BBC has a 24-hour live stream of the coffin. You can watch at home if you want. That is all I have to say about the queue. It is a milestone of British culture. It is a mark of British greatness. And with all that being said, thank you so much for watching. Please go watch more news on the queue. It is fantastic. Please go look on Tumblr for jokes about the queue. They are also fantastic. If you enjoy my content, you can go watch my last video. I just put out a video about living in the UK for 4 years and some British and American differences of culture in that. I did not mention queuing, by the way, but for the record, Americans do not know how to queue. They will shove their way past in line. They will make a blob, but they do not know how to wait patiently for anything. You can follow me on Twitter at HelenMarie95, on Instagram at HelenMarie_95. Be sure to check out that Eurovision site. We are coming up on Junior Eurovision, so we have plenty of coverage on various national finals for that, and also within the next couple of months we will know who is going to be the host city when the UK hosts Eurovision next year. That's a thing that's happening. So make sure to go check out our work. I will leave links to everything in the description. As always, I hope you are having a lovely day. Remember to keep living awesome lives, and I will see you next time. Bye.